Everyone in my origin family was from New Jersey. And actually, talk about close encounters, my mother and father grew up on the exact same street, Oak Street, Trenton, New Jersey. And I'm probably one of the few people who had two grandmothers, my mother's mother and my father's mother, who actually lived together at some point. Didn't last long, but they made it a try. When I was in 5th grade, my parents decided my father had been traveling from Trenton to New Brunswick for his blueprint business. And so we moved to New Brunswick, New Jersey, about 30 miles away. And that went very well. When my parents got to be in their early 70s, my brother was ready to take over the business. So my folks decided to move to southern Jersey, in the Pines area, to this huge over 55 development. Now, around that time was right when the Atlantic City casinos started to open. Was that a coincidence? Probably not. But my folks really enjoyed, like most other senior citizens, going down to the casino once a week. They loved it. My dad played blackjack, my mom plays the slots, and they just had a great time. But coming back, they had to go through the New Jersey Pines, which have a lot of dark roads. But they seemed to be doing pretty well, going once a week. After a while, my dad said, I'd really rather go twice a week. My mother said, you're on your own, buddy. So he started going once a week on his own. And one night coming back, when those, they would stay till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was dark going back, and my father had a close encounter with a deer, smashed up his car. Mother said, that's the end of that. You're back to once a week. So Dad didn't really like that, but that went on for a little while. And finally, he realized that in the state of New Jersey, when you were at a certain age, you could ride the public transportation free of charge. So he'd get in his Cadillac and go down to this Vincenttown diner about 15 minutes away, park around the back, and hop on the public transportation and go down to the casino. And he was happy as a lark. That went on for a couple years. One day, it was a real hot summer day coming back, and the bus air conditioning broke down. And he had a close encounter with a heart condition. And that wasn't my mother's good idea there about that. So she said, that's enough of that, Jack. So my dad did well. I mean, he survived from that, but he was back to once a week. That didn't make him happy. But he went on for another couple years. And after my father died, of course, my mother still wanted to go to the casino once a week. So she got her buddy that lived next door, about her same age, Louise, and the two of them took off once a week and went down. And, they played so long that they were always comped for meals, their lunch and their dinner, and they'd come back late at night. And Louise would talk to me about, your mother was such a good, fun person to be with. And they went down the New Jersey Turnpike. No, it was the Garden State Parkway, because my mother's left-handed, and she had to throw these quarters in this little round thing as you go through. And Louise would say she was so accurate, that left hand just really worked well. And then in the Garden State changed the toll to 35 cents, so she was supposed to put a quarter and a dime. My mother said she was having none of that. No more dimes. So Louise said they would go through and the bells would ring and the lights would come on and everything was, she said it was so embarrassing. We had to go through 3 of those toll booths. And I was always hoping the police would stop her because my mother refused to wear a seatbelt. I was always trying to get her to do that. And I thought, well, maybe the cops will stop her and get that remedied. But Mother wasn't worried because she got her doctor to write an excuse that the seatbelt would impede her breathing. And so she had this wonderful little note in her glove compartment So she never got stopped and never had a chance to use it. Well, Mother died at 83, and my best friend and I would still go and meet dear sweet Louise, who was so brave to go with my mother all those years. We'd take her out for her one martini lunch. And inevitably, Louise would say, "Oh, your mother was such a good driver. I so enjoyed going to the casino with her." I said, "What do you mean, Louise? You had all those close encounters coming back late at night." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What about the time when she had a flat tire in the pines and it was so dark and there was nobody around and she rode all the way home on the rims of the tire?" She said, "Well, we got home okay." I said, "Well, yeah, what about the time when she's driving home and she just falls asleep at the wheel?" Louise said, "I called her name and she woke right up." Dear sweet Louise just kept going with Mother. It was such a nice thing for her to do. Well, when Mother died, I had a little eulogy for her, and I said, "You know, we'll all miss Ruth, but Harris Casino will really miss Ruth." Dear Louise lived to be 100 years old, and she had a very peaceful, calm, close encounter with her death. Thank you very much.